What is going on, everybody? How's it going? This is Dylan with Dylan Talks Tone, and this is your weekly guitar gear news update. Sorry we missed you last week, but we were in Denver, Colorado, building guitars, and it was really, really fun. There's a couple of videos about that. Maybe we'll put those little gray boxes up here so you can go learn about what we did there. It was a blast. 6 people who never built guitars before. We put them in a shop with a bunch of tools and some paint guns and some sanders and some pin routers and a pickup winder, because we taught them all to wind pickups, and they came out with some really cool results. So it was a really fun thing to do, but we were running all week, so we did not get to shoot as much content as we wanted. So anyway, it was really fun. There are some more dates available for that coming up in the future. I'll leave a link to Texas Toast Guitars and their website there where you can go and learn about these workshops if you're so inclined to do the same thing yourself. It was really fun. I'm going back there, I believe, in August, which is sold out. And I think there's a couple of spots left in October, and then there's already some selling out for next year. So very cool. Let's get into the news. First, let's talk about Joe Bonamassa's 63 Cradle Rock. He names all of his guitars. Stratocaster. So it's a Sunburst Strat. It's a 63. He and Seymour Duncan got together on a set of Cradle Rock Strat pickups, and they look like Strat pickups out of a 63 Strat. And I guess that's all you really need to know. We don't have any measurement or anything like that, but they say that they are spot on to his 63 Cradle Rock Strat. So Blackstar's been coming out with these 100-watt pedal amp things, like all in a pedal. This Amped 3, the one that we're up to now, is a high-gain version of said amplifiers. Now, they say that this is, at Blackstar, say that this is the highest gain version of any amp they've ever made, actually, in this box. And instead of having a bunch of effects and stuff, this is a straight-up amplifier with 3 different channels so that you can get your high-gain sounds out of one of these amps. Now, these things are really cool. Again, I point your attention to Steve Sterlacci's YouTube channel because he just did a video on these, and a bunch of people did videos on them. They're very cool. I really want to try one. I haven't gotten around to being able to try one of these Blackstar amp on your pedal board kind of things yet, but it would be interesting to check out. EVH also announced some new amps. It's basically an expansion to their Iconic series, which is kind of I don't want to say entry level because they're very full-featured amps. They're tube amps with the small one here. We got a 15-watt amp, I think, and a 60-watt amp. So we've got a 15-watt 1x10 and a 60-watt 2x12. They both have line outs so that you can record, but the 15-watt one actually only has like a 3.5 millimeter, like a mini jack. And then the 60-watt one has your normal, like an XLR out so that you can record out with both of these things. Pretty cool stuff. They're just smaller versions. I think one of them, the 15-watt one, is $800, I want to say. And the 60-watt one is $13.99. So this is kind of par for the course for a tube amp now. Somewhere, that you could really gig with, somewhere in the $1,200 to $1,500 range. It seems to be normal in 2023. But I think these things are pretty cool. And if you want to dip your toe in a tube amp for relatively these days, not a lot of money, this one might be the one. Now, if you're a complete, cork sniffy amp snob, and I mean that in the most, we love amps kind of way, as I do. I've got a friend who has a real one of these, and it's amazing. So I can only imagine that Joe Bonamassa's new 48 Professional JB Edition signature amp is going to be amazing. I think these things are in the range of $4,000. Well, they're $3,500, but for $500 you get 2 free tickets to a show and a meet and greet. So I don't know how that works, but these things are pretty cool. It's the super vintagey kind of, what do they call that? Like the TV cabinet sort of deal. And this has his speakers in it. It's kind of his version of his original 48 that he has. Like I said, I have a friend who has one of these, the original 48, And it is an incredible sounding amp if you're into that early Tweed Deluxe-y kind of stuff. And probably, even though I think these are going to be kind of hard to get your hands on, it's way easier to get your hands on one of these than a good one of the originals. So, you know, if you've got $3,500 to spend and you are a true amp snob, like most of us are, I think this is a pretty cool deal. Let's get into some guitars. So, first of all, we want to talk about the new Fender Squier line. I really feel like this is an interesting thing. You know, we've got all these other kind of off-brand of guitars selling for around the $200 range. And I think that Fender, with their Bullet and Affinity series, has started to creep up there a little bit. And in order to kind of compete in that real, genuine beginner, entry level, I don't even want to say beginner, but entry level kind of guitar to hook you into the brand at Fender, they have come out with the Squier Sonic series, which is basically what they're calling their Bullet series. However, the line is a lot more fleshed out. There's a bunch of stuff. They've got a bunch of Strat styles. I really like the pink one with the one humbucker and the two knobs. It's pretty cool. They have a telly. They have a telly with a humbucker in the bridge. They have a regular Strat. They have a single hum Strat. These things all are like right around $200. I think the bases creep up to like $209 or $219. But in this price point, I think this is a fantastic move on Fender's part to really build that brand from the bottom up. And I think it's a really cool thing. I'm personally probably going to buy one of those pink Stratocasters with the humbucker in it because, you know, I like pink guitars. I think they're cool. I should mention that we're going to put links to everything that I can find today in the description below. If you use those links, it does help out the channel. If you click on them and shop around, even if you don't buy anything or you don't want any of the guitars or anything that we talk about today, just do some shopping around. That tells the folks on the other end of those links that you're interested in the guitar stuff, and it tells them that you're interested in the videos that we make. So I appreciate you doing that, even if you don't buy anything. Super cool stuff. Now, the next thing I want to talk about, we're going to dive back into amps a little bit. Vox has come up with the Brian May version of their little mini amps. So they got the little plug-in one that goes, you know, in the jack of your guitar. And then they also have their new tube. Remember their new tube ones? The little 50-watt new tube deal. It's tube technology, but it looks like a chip, but it's actually a tube, but it's low voltage. Anyway, we did a review on one on the channel a few years ago. They're actually really cool. And Brian May says it's good enough that he could take it out on the road. So if you want Brian May tone out of your Vox for a reasonable price, I think the little one is like $150 and the new tube one is like $250. And it pushes a cabinet and it's got a line out. It's got all the things. And it's like this big. So it's pretty cool if you are a Queen fan. Now, if you're a Kirk Hammett fan and you want a Gibson V, there are going to be a limited number of a custom shop version of his V. And it's a one-piece body. It does not have EMGs in it. It has Gibson pickups in it. It's $15,000. I bet that they will sell out, even though you probably don't want to spend that much, or maybe you do. I don't know. But if you do, you better jump on it quick because you know how these things go. Everybody's like, that's ridiculous. And then they go and look, and they're all gone. So you might want to go check that out if you're into that sort of thing. It's basically just a copy of his guitar in the case, 15 grand, boom. This next story I think is really interesting. So Strandberg Guitars, you see them here. They're known for making really pretty, really good looking guitars. If you're into this headless multi-scale kind of thing, like these are kind of up there for the name that you would think of with them. What I think is so interesting is that they are basically getting out in front of something that I think is very important. They're going to make their guitars out of the same woods and everything with this new Res QD range. And they say it's cheaper and greener, but basically they're just painting them. They're going to use the same woods from across the range, maple tops, I think. But they're going to paint them. But what that means is all of the cast-off wood All of the wood that doesn't look good enough to have a transparent finish just gets painted, which is cool. So for woods like poplar and woods like all these various woods that people don't think of as premium tone woods in an electric guitar are just fine as long as you can't see it. So you just paint it pink like this or whatever color that they're going to come in. And I think it's a really cool thing. And I love the fact that they're just going public and they're saying, look, we're going to use the ugly wood. We're going to do it. And we're going to paint it. And the tone is going to be fine. And you don't have to worry about it sounding cheap because it's not premium tone wood or whatever. You know, they're just going to paint the guitar and it'll be fine. Which Fender does. Everybody does it. But I like the fact that, and so does PRS, but I like the fact that they're getting out in front of it and they're telling everybody that's what they're doing and it's okay. And I really think that's cool. So, John Mayer, PRS Silver Sky, and Silver Sky SE. The number one question we get on every video that we ever make about this guitar is, will they be coming out with a maple, or I would buy this guitar if it had a maple fretboard? Or when will they be coming out with a maple fretboard? We don't know the answer to that. However, he is on tour right now, and he does have a PRS Silver Sky with him, and it's actually an SE that he's playing on tour with a maple fretboard. Does that mean there's one coming? You know how PRS is about this stuff. You could believe what you see about half the time, and then the rest of the time, it's, 14 seconds sustain, and etc. So I don't know, but I would have to say that if he's got one out on tour, it's probably more realistic and sooner than later, if you ask me. I don't know. Let me know in the comments, would you buy a Silver Sky SE if it came with a maple fretboard? Would that push you over the edge if you have never bought one thus far? Or if you already have one, would you move to get one with a maple fretboard? Interesting question. We are back in the shop this week making tons of pickups. As you can imagine, the Phil McKnight video from a couple of weeks ago absolutely hammered me with P90 orders. And so I think we've made 40 so far, and we've got like 40 more to go or something right like that. I don't know. There's a lot of them over there. So if you've been waiting on stuff, thank you for your patience because we were gone doing that. It kind of got weird timing with the going to Colorado deal. So we're getting caught up. We're building a bunch of stuff. It's really fun around here right now. That's why we've been focusing on that. Of course, we still do have the videos coming out 4 times a week, probably 5 times this week, because I want to address something from the last StewMac little nut height gauge video. Probably going to address that on Friday because a bunch of people got worked up in the comments about how that thing works. And Chris and I from Texas Toast Guitars tested some things, and the people in the comments are wrong. So stay tuned for that, and I'm going to show you some pretty funny stuff about that, and we will see you in the next video. Also, we have a live stream coming out tomorrow night. Leslie will be back with me, and we'll be doing some Q&A stuff at 8 p.m. Eastern. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow.